Okay. Cool. Yep. This is the real thing now.
Right. Eureka.
We make plays every day, yeah. 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 We make plays every day, yeah.
Hey, welcome to the Real Fantasy Playmakers. I am your host, Bogard, scot-free. And we're just going to fire right out the gate and welcome our special guest host, Calvin from TheProFFet podcast. Hey,
how are you doing? Thank you so much for having me on.
Man, I'm doing pretty good, man. You know, it's our pleasure. You know what I mean? We are the GMM network. You know what I'm saying? And we are definitely emphasizing the network in the GMM network. You know what I mean? And, you know, with that said, you know what I mean? We've been expanding our horizon, you know what I mean? Reaching out to other content creators that I actually appreciate in the game, in the industry, what have you. You know what I'm saying? And, you are a Cardinals fan, correct?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so we will touch a little on some Cardinals and some 2020 Cardinals outlook. You know what I'm saying? But before we get to all that, you know what I mean? Let's go ahead and handle this housekeeping. You know what I'm saying? Follow us at the GMM Network on Instagram and on Twitter. Follow me at Bogard Scott Free World on IG. And my man's Calvin from TheProFFet podcast. Go ahead and let them know where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at TheProFFet. On YouTube, I'm also just at TheProFFet. And then you can find me Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere where you can find podcasts. I'm there as TheProFFet Podcast.
Woo, okay. Well, seeing as how you are almost 18, like you said, you know what I'm saying, you a youngster in the game, you know what I mean? I'm going to go ahead and just pour me up some Kool-Aid. Huh? See what I did there? Some Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? Kool-Aid, give me money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Kool-Aid time. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I got 3 kids, bro. And I've been waiting all day to pour up some Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? All right, so check us out. A couple more things. Go ahead and check us out at therumboys.com. That's RUMBOYZ.com. You know what I'm saying? All the innovative writers that are under the Rum Boys monarchy, you can find all their articles there. Also, that's where you can find all our merch. And shout out to our sponsor, Milk and Honey. For all your CBD wellness and all your CBD goodness, visit www.milkandhoneytx.com. Calvin, for all the Playmakers, I want you to let them know a little bit about yourself. We were talking a little bit off air. You said, you know, you have your history in fantasy football goes about 11 years, which is impressive because that puts you around, what, 9 years old, roughly 9 years old?
You know I started really young. Yeah, about 9 years old or so.
You got about 13 years on me. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no. Let's see, 13. No, I was probably 13 years older, I should say. Yeah. When I got started. But yeah, so okay, so you know, let us know a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your history, leading all the way up to you know how you decided you're gonna start, you know, creating this fantasy content.
All right, will do. So basically, I grew up watching football. My family, I was born in Green Bay, Wisconsin, which they love football there.
You mean Wisconsin? I don't you know.
Wisconsin, yeah. So I grew up there. We were huge Brett Favre fans. So I grew up just watching football, you know, every single Sunday was just, you know, we just watched football. That's what we did.
Shout out to Brett Favre.
Probably, yeah, Brett Favre. So good. Favre. Yeah. So, yeah, it was when I was about 9 years old, I think. My brother, he started a fantasy football league for some of our family and friends, and I just became obsessed with it. I mean, I was like every morning, first thing I did before school was check my fantasy team. I was sending out trades, just everything. I got so into it.
Were you already on Yahoo by that? Were you using Yahoo at this time?
We originally used, it was just NFL.com's
fantasy
football site.
Okay, so you actually, this is before apps and everything. Like, you had to go on the site.
Oh yeah, we all shared a computer.
Damn!
So, yeah,
don't leave your
it made it
computer.
tricky.
Don't leave your shit open, like for motherfuckers trying to see who you're claiming and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we weren't professionals yet, but yeah, I just loved it, and I won that league, and so the next year I did it again. But that year I also created my own league with some of my friends, and since then it just kind of, the addiction spiraled out of control.
Bro, winning,
playing in more and more leagues.
I ain't gonna lie. The first league I jumped in, I was adopting a team that was already 6 weeks in, and it was eight managers, 8 teams I should say in that league. I turned that thing around and took that thing down, and I was hooked ever since. And I swear, if I would have not won that, it might have been different.
Yeah, no, yeah, I hear that because like the first season I did it was one of my best years, even though I spent even more time now. But yeah, I guess beginner's luck. But no, I had Philip.
Beginner's
Rivers.
luck give me money. You know what I mean? Fuck it.
Yeah. So yeah, I just fell in love with it, and I kept playing. And it was 1 or 2 years ago, I guess. I was following all these Instagram fantasy football accounts. I was thinking to myself, I kind of want to give this a shot. I wasn't exactly sure, where to start because,
Can I ask you,
so many.
Who was do you remember the account that inspired you? Because my story's kind of similar as far as like how I wanted to become a content creator.
So yeah, the first one I found, the first podcast at least, was the Fantasy Footballers.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure
shout out to them.
know
For
of
sure.
them. Yeah,
yeah, they're definitely one of the top 3 that I discovered. And I was fortunate to find them back in 2014, I want to say, or 13. It was like literally their first year.
Oh wow!
The first year that they went public, at least.
Yeah, because they're huge now.
Yeah, really? You don't say.
They're like, I mean, they've officially made it. It's crazy how far they've come since even I just started listening. But yeah, so I saw that and I was like, I kind of want to give this a shot. But so I started on Instagram. I only made about 15, 20 posts that whole season, just some like predictions before games.
Yeah.
And I got like 50 followers, and I was like, wow, 50 followers, this is amazing. I'm going to do this next year.
Bro, when I remember how hard it was to get people to follow my craziness. I was like, come on, just somebody that doesn't know me. Because, people that know you, they're like, okay, yeah, I'll follow your shit. But it's like, people that don't know me, when they start defining me, I was like, wow, okay. I was like, okay, all right. That's how it feels.
I mean, whenever I get a new follower, even now, I'm just like, my first question is, how did you find me?
Well, I mean, before you ask me, I really don't remember how I found you. I think it's just because I was actively trying to find motherfuckers on the gram. Like, I was just actively, like, anything that said podcast or fantasy, I was just, okay, let's check them out. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and just show out, because I'm not one of those motherfuckers who's like, follow for follow. Or like, because I can't stand those people. I mean, I'm not knocking them to a degree, but I'm just saying, like, if you know what I mean, like, that's how I started off. Like, you know what I mean, like, at least trying to build the page. You know what I mean, like.
That's what I started last year. Yeah, all those people who comment follow for follow, but I tried to stay somewhat away from that because I knew it like they just unfollow.
Exactly. I was about to say those assholes.
Yeah, they always unfollow. But yeah, so and then it was last May, so we're coming up on the anniversary of when I started kind of taking this seriously. It was last May, I think, 29th.
Nice. Almost around your birthday too, right?
Yeah.
Fucking awesome, bro.
I posted, I think, a thing about Joe Mixon, and that's when it started. I said, I'm going to do this kind of consistently throughout the summer into the season.
That's my man, Sir Joe Mix-a-Lot.
Joe Mixon, yeah.
Are you aware of Sir Mix-a-Lot? That song? I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. Yeah, so that's my nickname for him, Sir Joe Mix-a-Lot, and he likes touchdowns and he cannot lie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's such a good runner. I hope things work out for him this year since they've got Burrow. But no, he's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I to be honest, bro, he's like, if you look on my page, you know what I'm saying? Nick Chubb and Sir Joe Mix-a-Lot, these dudes are like, you know what I mean? Like, I've been on them since they was rookies. I know they came in, Joe Mixon came in the year prior, but
yeah,
bro, it's just like their running style, and like, they came from, I mean, they're in the NFC North where Le'Veon Bell reigned supreme for years, and it's no coincidence that a division rival will try to find a
Their version,
beastie
yeah.
running back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, or their
Yeah,
version to
yeah.
a sense, to a degree, But yes.
Yeah, I agree.
But Joe
So,
Mixon,
yeah.
he got that dancing ability behind the line, kind of like a Le'Veon Bell for real.
Yeah, he very similar styles. Yeah, the patient runner. Yeah, he makes people miss. Yeah,
And he got great receiving chops, playmakers. People have argued with me because they haven't seen it, and that's just that goes down to coaching. You know what I mean? But Zach Taylor, just because listen. Should we set it at like 50? The under over, where like how many times I'll interrupt you? 'Cause I'll take the over. You know what I mean? But this fool Joe Mixon, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like he's over there with Zach Taylor, and we've seen Zach Taylor be the OC for Todd Gurley back in 2018 when he was still like just beastie. You know what I mean? And I was already in love with the talent of Sir Joe Mixon. I was like, man, this is great now that Zach Taylor's there. And he started off the year last year banged up, but we've seen it transpire, even behind a bad line, and that line can only get better.
Yeah, that's what's exciting is that offense. It can't really get worse than last year, and even last year, Joe Mixon, he was still good.
And think about it, with a rookie at the helm, you know what I'm saying? They're going to emphasize the run more because that's how you help your young rookie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, and especially on those short dump offs, if the pressure gets to Burrow, he's going to want to dump it off to a safety outlet, which I think will be Mixon.
Yeah, or Tyler Boyd as well. You know what I mean? Or you know what I'm saying, one of the tight ends. But okay, here before we move on from Joe Mixon, because I know I'm kind of veering off the docket, and I tend to do that a little bit, which also fills up a lot of time because I don't really do short playing podcasts. You know what I'm saying? Because there is a market for people that like to, at work, they'll listen to, my hour and a half to 2 hour podcast, and I'll look at the analytics and people, they come back and finish up, and I like that, man. You know what I mean? But
oh wow, yeah.
But do you worry about, you know what I mean? Do you worry about, Joe Mixon, perhaps maybe holding out at all?
I don't think he's gonna hold out.
Thank you. I tend to agree with that. I like to get other perspectives.
I mean, I just don't see it happening. I think he wants to play for them, and I think they will end up paying him. I think it's gonna work out.
I like that. We're gonna speak that into existence. You know what I mean? Fuck it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, because you know what I'm saying. The further and further we get toward, he was steady in the back of the second round, and now people are pulling. I actually did one official draft, but I've done handfuls of mock drafts, and in the official draft I just did. Shout out to the Rum Boys. You know what I'm saying? Joe Mixon got pulled up to the 1-8. You know what I mean? In the first,
yeah,
the back of the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You better not hold out then.
I know, right? For that person's sake, you know what I mean? Because I was the 1-9 overall, and I was ready to swing around and grab him if he was there with my second pick. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I mean, I think it could be a lot like Zeke last year, where there were some leagues where Zeke even fell to the second round because everyone was so sure he's not going to play, and then there he is.
Right? Okay, so now here's my next question. You know what I'm saying? How in the hell did you come from Wisconsin, I don't know, where the Packers fans are some of the most dedicated fan base? How did you become a Cardinals fan? Was that just your first team that you discovered on your own? I'm curious.
Well, it was really only a couple of years ago, so I still do cheer for the Packers, but my girlfriend, she was like, hey, I want to follow football. And so I was like, all right, let's choose a team to kind of root for. And she liked their jerseys, so that's how it started. But no, now she's really
super
big football fan.
And both of you guys got to be juiced with the likes of Kyler Murray and company over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a great time to change. We became Cardinals fans. Then they got Kyler Murray. Then this draft, Hopkins. I mean, it's a great time. So,
I admire that because, you know what I'm saying, some may call that a bandwagoner, but you guys together was like, okay, let's build fandom right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's great. I like that.
We currently live in Kentucky, so the closest team to us is the Browns and the Bengals, and no way.
Hey man, you know what, dude? I am a Niner fan, so this conversation will be very interesting. Because, granted, I am a Niner fan. My folks, quick little history on me. My folks came from the Philippines, and I'm a first generation born. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of Spanish in me as well, as Filipinos tend to have. You know what I'm saying? But they came to San Francisco in 1978, and like during the time you had the Zodiac killer and shit like that, and like, bro, it was just a crazy city to live in. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure all cities were crazy, especially during those times. You know what I mean? But like in this case, they drafted one Joe Montana, a couple years later, and then I was born in the mid '80s, and then what I'm saying, I was born and raised in it, and luckily, it's like I don't remember Joe Montana obviously, but Steve Young was the man, and like I just continue to love my team, but because of fantasy football, I have a deep rooted appreciation for all teams. You know what I mean? And it's my once I got extremely obsessed with fantasy football, I made it my job to know and understand every team like the back of my hand, and like so. I mean, my series is called The Real Fantasy Playmakers, but now post draft, I'm going and I'm bringing in other analysts like yourself, where they could talk about the team they're fans of, and and we could just break things down, and selfishly, I get to get different perspectives from people that like analysts that. Because it is a skill set to be able to take the Homer hat off and be able to just call a spade a spade. Because I mean, I could tell you, like last year we were winning all year. We were. I used to say this last season, because I've been a season ticket holder for years. Where I was saying we were winning ugly with my man Handsome Jimmy. You know what I mean? Because and that was just being as real as possible, because it was the truth. Like it wasn't pretty, but I mean, we were able to get this thing rolling because of the defense and our run game, etc. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, that's actually interesting you bring that up, because that's the first year I did fantasy, going back all that ways. It was everyone in that group were big Packers fans basically, and I had never really lived in Green Bay, so I mean, our family rooted for them, but myself, I didn't cheer for a single team as much. So I had no bias towards players. Everyone else was trying to get Packers players. I was just going for the best player. And when you can set aside a bias of any sort and just, draft players based on the player themselves, it really it makes, I think, the game way more fun to watch, but it will take your fantasy skills to a whole new level.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I won't lie. Like, I love that my man Jorge, my man George Kittle, is the shit right now. Where it's like, okay, because there is still a piece of me where I want a piece of my team, and it's like, what I mean? He's one of the only reasons why I would go early tight end. You know what I mean? It's like, because not only do I get a piece of my team, but like, he's one of the pieces to have. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, I mean, he's best tight end right now.
Yeah, like aside from that, like Debo and then Mostert, they got value as far as like not having to reach. You know what I'm saying? Like they can actually fall to the mid rounds, but at the same time, man, you know what I mean? Like I'm just shout out to my man Jorge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. Man.
And Kittle, he likes fantasy football too. He said stuff like that.
Bro, I'm in a league with him.
What?
Nah, I'm not. I'm just, it just sounded. Nah, you feel me? Okay, well, all right. So check this out. Now let's get a little bit of reality talk right here.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? So who stands out to you in this Cardinals 2020 draft class that you feel can make an immediate impact for your team? Because I mean, granted, you had a rookie QB and a rookie head coach last season, and like, you know what I'm saying, we did see this thing start to it started to morph and to manifest into like a high powered offense by the time we got to the end of the season. You know what I mean? And like, but like I said, this is a reality take in the draft. Who do you think makes that immediate impact?
The first two, I mean, obviously Isaiah Simmons, the linebacker from Clemson, great player. But I'd say the maybe biggest impact is their round 3 pick on Josh Jones, the tackle from Houston, because he was scouted. A lot of people were thinking up until a couple weeks before the draft he could be a first round prospect. He fell into the 3rd round.
Yeah,
and he's someone who's immediately going to help the offense, giving more time for Kyler Murray, giving more run room for Kenyon Drake or whoever's running. And long term, Kyler Murray, we all know he's small. They needed this because he was sacked so many times. They got to keep him healthy.
Yeah, man. If you do remember, like, you know what I'm saying, they ran like 4 wide receiver sets religiously. And then by the time they got to the middle of the season, you started seeing more 12 personnel with dual tight ends out there because they needed help to protect his little ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, So Josh Jones, that's really probably the most impactful pick, I think, in terms of that's going to help shape the whole offense. Not just this season, but I think it is a key piece to keeping Murray healthy for, the next, as long as he wants to play.
Especially when you're playing within division, man. Like, you got the Niners, who are obviously, monstrous up front. You know what I mean?
Seahawks. They've got Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? Even though the Seahawks, they were like, bottom of the barrel when it came to like actual sack totals. You know what I mean? It didn't mean that they weren't trying to send pressure. You know what I mean? And then obviously you have the Rams who got Donald and company. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's very important because you're right. That division is so hard. I mean, for so many reasons. But the pressure that division gets on the quarterback is.
And Kyler Murray was still kicking our ass, even with the poor protection he had. The 2 games we played against him, man. Like, I remember I was in Hawaii that Thursday nighter, and then that's like I said, I'm a season ticket holder, and shout out to my man A1. He's the dude that I share the season tickets with, and there would be games where like I remember we would go to every single game, but one of the games that I went to without him was that Monday nighter against the Seahawks, and then we traded. And then I traded him the Cardinals game, and that Cardinals game was fucking epic to go to because we had that comeback victory with the Fred Williams, if I remember correctly, he had on that wheel route. You know what I'm saying, for that touchdown pass in the end. You know what I mean? That was, but yeah, man, he's frightening that kid Kyler Murray. So now, with the threat of giving him more time in the pocket, or even someone that could help, help run blocking for Drake, or even for Murray himself. You know what I mean? And just
because Murray's rushing stats. He was second in the league, but they weren't phenomenal like we saw with Lamar Jackson. But a lot of that, he didn't even have time to run. You watch some of these games.
It wasn't too many design runs.
They didn't have that option. So I think that pick is going to be a huge piece to this season.
Yeah. Okay, so I like that because and I will add that Simmons obviously like long, lengthy, you know what I'm saying, strong, etc. Right, all the cliche description of him. But then more importantly, like he could drop into coverage against these tight ends, and you and I both know they gave up so many TDs to the tight end. It was like, bro, like if I needed a tight end, I was streaming against them. Like, look, who's playing the Cardinals? I think there was only like 2 games they didn't give up a tight end touchdown. And it was like I think one against the Bengals, and matter of fact, damn, what was his name? Tyler Eifert. I think he dropped one. He dropped one in the end zone where I was like, okay, that would have been it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, like they definitely led the league in like 8 men in the box, and like maybe now they could drop more into coverage with someone like Simmons, being able to stay in the box or even drop back against one of these opposing tight ends.
Yeah, and that's especially important because the 49ers in their division, they use the tight end. So do the Rams, and so do the
Seahawks.
The Seahawks, Yep. Even though they don't have Graham right now, they still use the tight end.
I mean, they still had Hollister, and they still had my man Walt Disley. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Responsible for movies like Little Mermaid, and you know what I'm saying? And I mean Walt Disley, bro. Oh no, never mind. His name is Will Disley. That's right.
Will.
I was mistaken.
Close enough.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I was mistaking him for, Disney. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Okay, okay, well, you know what? Moving along, you know what I'm saying? With the addition of my man Nuke Skywalker, you know what I'm saying? Like, who do you directly feel is negatively affected in the receiving game? Because you're gonna move around Hopkins, obviously, right? He could play in the slot, he could play out wide, but like is it Larry Fitzgerald because he's predominantly a slot guy? Is it Christian Kirk just because Christian Kirk was already we already had rumors of him being traded, or is it that your man Andy Isabella, who I actually seen you interview, which was awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. I was like, what was cool too was like I think I had just we had just exchanged information and set this podcast up. And then I was like, oh, look at this kid, man. He's reaching out to players and everything. I was like, this is dope. I was like, I'm glad I reached out to you prior to that, so it didn't look like I'm like some thirsty analyst. Like, oh well, he's interviewing players. I gotta get him on. You know what I mean?
No, that was awesome that he came on. I was so surprised when he came on.
Yeah,
but yeah, so I mean, Larry Fitzgerald, I wasn't predicting a great fantasy season for, even before Hopkins came. I just, he's old.
Yeah.
That's as great as Fitzgerald is and was. He's old.
Yeah, and
past
just
his
being
prime.
more of being predominantly a slot receiver in his elder age. You know what I mean? It's like I wonder how predictable it would be when they move Nuke around, like, and he's in the slot. Like, will they not have Fitzgerald on the field, or like, you know what I mean? Like, because like I felt like Fitzgerald was kind of a mainstay in that slot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with Fitzgerald, but I'm not interested fantasy-wise. The biggest player that I'm down on fantasy-wise because of this would be Christian Kirk, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree.
I still think there's room for Isabella to just be a pure deep threat, definitely. But I think Kirk, he just falls to very much the wide receiver, too. And it's very crowded there for the wide receiver, too. I mean, there's Bird, Isabella, Larry Fitzgerald. There's
I
so
forgot
many wide
about little
receivers.
Bird, man. Bird, hey, he got some hands, man.
He did.
So many, even going all the way back to his time with Carolina, so many big plays where it was like, this kid Bird, bro. Like, it was, yeah, but okay, go on.
Yeah, Bird, and there's also, I think, Keyshawn Johnson.
Oh yeah,
So
the fake Keyshawn Johnson. That's right. Well, because I mean, I mean, you've been playing fantasy long enough. You do remember Keyshawn Johnson, like the original Keyshawn Johnson, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, but yeah, it's so he's the wide receiver too in a very crowded, role. So I just don't see him having the fantasy impact, and it's a bummer because he was really emerging last year as a potential, breakout this coming season. If rookie season, it was going well. He got injured. And then last year, he was pretty good. Had some huge games. They won against Tampa Bay, where he had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And then so I was.
But I mean,
looking
but I
forward
think
to him.
I think also too that was just great coaching and great scheming because obviously Tampa Bay had the number 1 run defense and like they would play a lot of single coverage on the outside, and and their secondary was all majority of them were rookies too, and like I just remember I remember putting Christian Kirk in every one of my daily fantasy lineups that week, and I was just on the podcast like just screaming it, I was hitting Jamaican horns. I was like, this is the week. I was even telling people for all the disgruntled owners because there was a lot of hype going in on Christian Kirk. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was telling him like, listen, after this game, you're gonna be able to trade him away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So he's the biggest loser from that because he really was emerging, and I feel like now he's kind of stuck as the wide receiver too.
Yeah.
Now I think last year's pretty much his peak, at least in Arizona.
Okay. Well, while we're on the fantasy subject, is it like because I for one, I'll tell you this much, it was May the 4th. You know what I'm saying? Yesterday, or or whenever you hear this, might be a couple days ago, but because this will drop by the end of the week. Like I actually have a few episodes in the chamber right now. I like to stock up, and then so I can release every 2 days. You know what I mean? So this one definitely will come. It will be released. I'd say Thursday, the latest. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, no later than this Friday, because what I'm saying, like, that's just how I rock. You know what I mean? I like to give my episodes a couple days of breathing space. Also, at the same time, you know, I mean, these are kind of standalone episodes where like people can revisit them. Still, I like to give them their breathing room. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
with all that said, is it safe to say, you know what I'm saying, that I'm crazy for taking Nuke Skywalker with that 1-8 overall? Like I told you, I did one legitimate draft so far. This is an actual league. You know what I mean? And like, and then, so here, let me make my case first. If you remember with me, 540 pass attempts for Kyler Murray as a rookie. You know what I mean? And I see no less than like 600 pass attempts as his floor. And like, with that said, why not have, you know, the number one target, right? With Skywalker.
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy at all, actually. In fact, I was thinking about this today. How early do you draft, you know, the big two wide receivers right now?
Well, Thomas is going like, he's going top 5. You know, I wouldn't argue with someone if they were in the 5th spot and they grabbed Thomas over like Dalvin Cook. You know what I mean? I've even seen him go as high, in mock drafts, I've even seen him go high as like number 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so I don't think it's crazy at all because, yes, running backs, they aren't as common as wide receivers. There are only a handful that are going to be great in fantasy. But both Hopkins and Thomas, they've been so reliable, and they've always been on the field. They've been so reliable for so long, and they're going to score so many points that I think it's very safe to draft them that early. I mean, even I saw someone saying that they didn't want Hopkins in the first 2 rounds because he's not going to be good because Kyler Murray is worse than Deshaun Watson. And people are forgetting.
But how do we know this, though? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
they kind of have similar game styles where it's like, if you remember, you know, Hopkins, he shined a lot whenever Watson was breaking the pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like scrambling around, and he'll find his man Nuke. And like, you know what I mean? I mean, granted, I hope your 3rd round draft pick does be able to, you know, add some more protection. And I know you guys picked up some guys in free agency for on that O-line. And I'm hoping, you know, it does make a massive difference. But, and yes, it is a gamble because we haven't seen Nuke play with Kyler Murray. And you could even double that by saying, you know, it is even more of a gamble because, you know what I mean, because of the Corona shit. Are they going to be able to meet up and throw the ball and practice, you know, outside of OTAs, or even like, are we going to get training camp on time, or, you know? So I do worry about the chemistry, but okay, here I'm always going to find ways to justify my madness, right? So in this case, remember with me again, before the apocalypse hit, because this is what I mean, that's what I've been actively calling this, the apocalypse.
The apocalypse.
Right? Before the apocalypse hit, do you remember Kyler Murray going to CeeDee Lamb's pro day? Remember that?
Yeah.
Because CeeDee Lamb was his guy back in college, right? And who were they comparing? Who were they comparing CeeDee Lamb to?
Was it Hopkins?
Yup. So it's like, why not get the actual Nuke Skywalker, right?
Yeah. I think that's a good pick, honestly, because Hopkins, let's say Kyler Murray is worse than Deshaun. Let's say he is. If we go back to 2015, before Deshaun Watson was on the scene,
oh, I already know where you're going. Yes,
1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns.
With
Year
fucking
before that, 1200.
Who was it with?
Brian
Tom
Hoyer
Savage,
and Brock
Brian
Osweiler.
Hoyer, Brock Osweiler. Like, yo, that's a good fucking point, bro.
Garbage.
That's a great fucking point. See, this is why I had to bring the prophet on here. You know what I mean?
See, people are arguing you can't draft Hopkins because Kyler Murray isn't as good as Watson. He doesn't have to be as good as Watson. He just has to be better than Brock Osweiler and Tom Savage.
You know what I would tell those people? I would, especially if they're in leagues with me, I tell them, you're fucking correct. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, you're fucking goddamn right. So I can't snag them. You know what I mean? Like, I would love.
You better not draft him in the 1st round.
I would love DeAndre Hopkins if I can get him on. If I was in the back end of the 1st round and I can get like a Nick Chubb or even like a Joe Mixon. Say I have the 10th spot, and then I could turn around and grab Nuke. You know what I mean? Or like, you know, because I honestly, if my guys in that range are off the board, you know what I mean? Like, I would argue with myself, Nuke or Devontae Adams. And I will say that Devontae Adams is on a run-first team where you're still going to have to depend on the efficiency of Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Where it's like, give me the guy who's going to who I predict is going to throw at least a minimum of 600 times, where it's like maybe the efficiency doesn't have to be there as much. Like, he's going to get peppered with targets.
The volume is going to be.
Yes, there you go. For lack of a better term, by saying peppered, you're right. The volume, B. Yeah.
Yeah, so, no, I like that pick, and I was thinking, I'm in one league, and I think I'm going to have, like, the first-round pick, and I was thinking, if I get this first-round pick, who am I taking? And honestly, I think I could justify taking Michael Thomas.
Okay, but yeah, if you are, but see, here's the thing though, you have to be prepared to be ready to grab him, because he's not gonna. I think by the time this is all said and done, he's not falling past that 1.6.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, you're not getting him any later. And both Thomas and Hopkins, they don't miss games. They don't get hurt. They don't have off.
Yeah, I mean,
whereas the backs, they always get hurt.
I will say, I won't disagree with that, but I will say that I am on the side of the fence where I believe 100% of NFL players have the same probability of injury as the next. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because there is such a thing as non-contact injuries, you know, especially for a receiver. A receiver could be out there running a route and then boom, you know what I mean? Just tears ACL, you know what I mean? And you know what? I almost want to cut that part out of the podcast because I don't want to jinx our man Thomas or Skywalker. You feel me? I love those guys.
If they go out first week of the torn ACL, we know who to call.
And I got you know what I call Michael Thomas? I call him Frankenstein. Because if you look at him, he has an extremely tall head. You know what I mean? Like Frankenstein. You know what I mean? And it's like
he kind of does, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like Frankenstein. I have him in my keeper league, so I was like, you know what I mean? Like, man, it's yeah. I would hate that for him or Hopkins, bro. Oh man, or for any player in that matter. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't like injuries. I don't think anyone does. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're the dickhead. If you're that jackass that's holding on to somebody's handcuff and then that running back in front of them goes down.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So that's probably the only time I would ever be like, actually, I'm never rooting for injury, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? In the spirit of still going on this fantasy shit, is it safe to say, if you're worried about any of the conversation we just had with the, you know, who's negatively affected as far as the receivers, or is Nuke gonna have, you know, chemistry or rapport with my man Killer Kyler? You know what I'm saying? Is it safe to say just get the cake, not the icing? So in this case, just draft Kyler Murray and just get it all?
Yeah, I love drafting Murray. And people are going to argue, no, you can't draft Murray because he's going to go in, you know, the 6th, 5th round. And
no, he's going higher than that, bro. Like,
he's going higher. He's going for 3rd. And you can get, you know, Kirk Cousins in the 16th round. And, like, yeah, I get waiting for a quarterback. But at the same time, if you wait, you're stuck with Kirk Cousins or every single week trying to find everyone else.
If you wanted to look at Kyler Murray's numbers last season, you know what I'm saying? You know, as a runner, he has RB3 value. So he's essentially a QB1 with RB3 value.
Yeah, people think too much about, you know, drafting positions. You got to just draft the best player who's going to score the most points. You know, when you win that week, it doesn't matter which position the points came from. It's all cumulative of your team. So, like, who cares if you have a slightly worse, you know, bench running back?
But it becomes like, because, you know, when you're in the top, like, 4 rounds, I want to say, you know what I mean? They're going to give you, like, half your production weekly. And you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, because there is such a thing as reaching, you know what I mean? And, like, so would you think that in the back of the 4th or even in the 5th, for that matter, because, you know, that once they traded for Nuke Hopkins, that's where it brought him up to. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, they were all Jedi. You know what I mean? It was like, now Nuke Skywalker's up here. You know what I'm saying? And that pushed up Kyler Murray's, you know what I mean? Or Darth Murray. Fuck it. That's a new nickname. We're calling him Darth Murray. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got...
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like Kyler still, even that high. I mean, Red Zone.
Ooh, Kyler Ren? That's a good one right there. Kyler Ren instead of Kylo Ren? Yeah! Yes!
No, yeah. his red zone carries, he got 19, which was third among quarterbacks. I think probably Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson were ahead. But he's running in touchdowns, too. He had 4 rushing touchdowns on 93 carries. People are forgetting that he can run, and they didn't draft Hopkins just to throw. That's going to open up the whole field for Murray to run.
It's going to take the top off. It should lessen the box. At the same
It's
time,
going to make
too,
everything easier.
Yeah, and then you know what too? I could argue this really helps Kenyon Drake or you know the likes of Chase Edmonds, whoever granted because Kenyon Drake is injury prone, where it's like you know what I mean. Like, how about this? If you have Kenyon Drake, make sure you get Chase Edmonds later on in the draft. You know what I mean? But also I say this because it's gonna help the running lanes get open. The fact that Killer Wren is I'm going with that. Killer Wren. The fact that Killer Wren is a runner, you know what I mean, and they're gonna have to keep a spy on him. So that's gonna, you know what I mean, and then it's like, can you keep a spy on him? Because you're gonna have Nuke Skywalker out there. He's gonna demand double coverage. You know what I mean? Like, this is gonna be fun, bro.
I get it.
It's gonna be fun.
This season is gonna be great, I think. But people are forgetting, honestly, drafting a quarterback high. People always forget that takes out the whole worry every week of having to pick up a quarterback. If you're streaming, that not only adds stress, but if you're in a league with Fab or other people streaming, there's no assurance you're going to get someone with a good schedule, especially when bye weeks and injuries happen.
Okay, if you're in the... Okay, say like this. Let's get hypothetical. Say you do got that 1-6, and you go ahead and you grab Michael Thomas. This is redraft talk right here. Okay. You swing around. For some odd reason, the people that surround you, like you said, those some of your peers that aren't agreeing with, our man Nuke Skywalker being, a high second pick or a back end of the first round pick, and he's there. Are you bypassing him? Or are you looking at one of the running backs that might be there, like an Aaron Jones or like a Kenyon Drake even, like, because of the fact that you already got your number one receiver, or are you going to stack receivers right there? Like, I mean, I'm curious to know because, you know what I'm saying? Like, you are the Cardinals fan, you know what I mean? Because I know sometimes it gets hard, when your man is there and you're like, ooh, this is my guy. Like, I've been grabbing Kittle. Like, okay, remember I told you I grabbed Nuke Skywalker? That was what, 1-9, right?
1-9,
I turned around, grabbed Kittle right there because I knew he wouldn't be there by the time I got back.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying is people think too much about the position, and it doesn't matter where the points come from. At the end of the day, which team has most points wins. It doesn't matter if it's from the running back 2 position or. I mean, I've done fantasy. I always try to do a different strategy in each league, and honestly, the 0 running back strategy, it's not easy, but it never fails. Because those wide receivers in those early rounds are so dependable, I find.
I love that we're in the theme of Star Wars right now, right? I love that you speak in such certainty. Because are you a fan? Are you a fan of Star Wars?
I've got a replica lightsaber on this table.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Should I grab mine? Should I go grab? I got mine upstairs. You know what I'm saying? But check this out, because you know what they say about speaking in certainty. That's a path to the dark side. You know what I mean? And it's like, but I love the. I won't say it though too. Because I won't say what you're saying is arrogant. I will say it's confident. You know what I mean? And I do admire that. You know what I mean? Because hey, you got to stick to your guns. You know what I'm saying? I've never really been a fan of 0 RB because I try, like, I almost go opposite half the time. Like if Nick Chubb was there where I was at, boom, I'm grabbing him. I'll turn around if Kittle was gone, or in this case Kittle was there, but say he wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? Because I like going early round tight end, so I don't have to worry. And then you know what I'm saying? And then later on, I am that crazy ass where I'll get a secondary tight end, someone I'm big on later on, like a Jonnu Smith or like a Hayden Hurst. You know what I'm saying? Where people I believe in, but I would like to have that potential trade chip in a Kelsey or a Kittle or an Ertz, where like if my secondary tight end's eating, I could trade away my guy with the high draft capital and push the issue, the fact that he does carry a high draft capital, and then get, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do. And part of the strategy I like to do with a zero running back is not that I want to do the whole season zero running back. It just so much happens with the running back position, it seems, where we have no idea. I mean, Royce Freeman. Do you remember the name Royce Freeman?
Of course I remember the Rolls Royce.
He was a big deal. He was a big deal. Then Philip Lindsay came, and now Melvin. He's a third-string running back. David Montgomery last year,
yep.
He was drafted second, third round, did nothing. So I like to get as many great, reliable
I'd say like
wide receivers.
he was definitely a fourth or fifth rounder, but yes, I do remember the year before, yes, with Royce Freeman, where by the time it was all said and done, he was solidified third round pick, and he did squat. And see, here's the thing. What I do over here at the Real Fantasy Playmakers, bro, like one of my niches is I'm obsessed with following around coordinators. And that rookie year, they had Bill Musgrave. I hope I'm saying his name right. Musgrave. He was their coordinator. And I remember he spent a lot of years with Oakland where they had DeAndre Washington. They had Latavius Murray, and they had Jalen Richard. Where it was like, for sure, they were going to do the same thing over there. So I kind of, especially after seeing the preseason where I was like, all right, I might need to, backpedal a little off Royce Freeman. Granted, I had him in one league, and I did grab him in the third. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, it did not work. You know what I mean?
It just didn't work. No. So, yeah, I like just getting as many great, reliable wide receivers, keeping some, and then just, week 3 or 4, trading for a running back who I see is on the field and is being reliable. And I find those teams, they're usually willing to trade if they're hurting at wide receiver. There's always that one team that only drafts running backs.
Yeah. Well, you know what's crazy, though, is I will say this, though. One thing I do want to promote is I will promote, early heavy running backs, like heavy running backs early, I should say. I might be having a little bit too much Kool-Aid already. But yes, I will say early running backs 100% this year. See, now I'm speaking in certainty, 100%, right? I will say that there's a lot of value at receiver, like a Terry McLaurin, like a, DJ Moore, Justin Jefferson, where it's like I can go, I can get into the 4th round and I already have 2 running backs and a tight end, and then I'll be happy with those guys as my number ones. You know what I mean? Because they are legit number ones on their team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And it's interesting because this year more than ever, it's not that it's just hard for me to get excited about a bunch of the running backs. I like Kamara and I like Mixon and I like some others, but this draft really it made a lot of really muddy backfields, it seemed.
I can agree to disagree, but I could straight out agree and I could straight out disagree. So that's why I say I will agree to disagree, because at the end of the day, right? Think about this. You know what I'm saying? Yes, there's running back committees. Like if I get Nick Chubb, people might argue, "Oh, Kareem Hunt." Well, I would be willing to draft Kareem Hunt in the 7th round if I was the Nick Chubb owner. Right? Because if Nick Chubb goes down, he's 100% a number 1. You know what I mean? Kareem Hunt. And think about this. Kevin Stefanski's over there now. Remember I told you I like to follow around these coordinators. Kevin Stefanski's over there. He's bringing that zone run scheme. And if you remember him with Minnesota, you know what I'm saying? You had the likes of Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison, and Madison didn't negatively affect him. You know what I'm saying? As far as and Madison still got 8 touches a game, and then Dalvin Cook still averaged like 20 to 22 touches a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I guess the difference with me is I am personally a lot of times if I've got Michael Thomas and Mike Evans, I'm fine then drafting like this year Kareem Hunt in the 7th and saying I'm going to rely on the PPR points.
Yeah, because like I said. If he's getting 8 to 10, if he's getting like 8 carries a game and like 2 targets a game, or maybe even 6 carries a game and 4 targets a game, you know what I'm saying? Kareem Hunt is definitely a solid flex with stupid high upside if anything happens to Chubb.
Yeah, that's. I guess that's what I'm saying. It's not that I don't like locking myself into one.
I do.
Draft strategy.
Well,
you do?
No, my bad. I'm sorry. I cut you off again, like for the 19th time. I was gonna say I like locking myself into a backfield where whoever is the starter, like Kenyon Drake. I know Kenyon Drake's gonna get at least 18, to 20 touches a game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if anything happens to him, I would be glad to have Chase Edmonds with like my last pick in the draft because of the fact that we've already seen Chase Edmonds flash. He's talented. He's not just some backup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that game against the Giants, he went it all.
Like, I'll go further to say, DeAndre Swift, he's a rookie, extremely talented. It's a pretty good offensive line over there in Detroit. And, people might be out on Kerryon Johnson. I'll probably be able to get Kerryon Johnson, after I pick up DeAndre Swift in, like, the 5th round. I'll be able to get Kerryon later on in the 10th round. And if anything happens to Swift, I can, pun intended, carry on with an RB1. You know what I mean?
I like that strategy.
There's certain, but in certain scenarios, they have to have talent. The backup has to be talented. It's not like I'm gonna handcuff if I have Joe Mixon, I'm not handcuffing no Gio Bernard. They're totally different types of, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things.
That's people get carried away with the word handcuff and say no. Some people. There's a difference between backups and handcuffs. I guess it can be said like that. There's a difference between backups and handcuff. A handcuff is someone, because they're players who, if the running back in front of them goes down, you don't want any part of it. I mean, Tony Pollard, I want if
Love
he
it.
goes
That's
down.
a good example.
Benny Snell,
a great example.
If James Conner goes down, I still don't really want
Love
Benny
it.
Snell.
You mean my man Benny the Snail? You know what I mean? Yeah. Love that. See, great examples.
I guess that's the problem. And I think a lot of people just are like, I'm going running back, then I'm going wide receiver. I think it just depends, how your draft falls.
Yeah, or even all the way down to like your how the lineup structure is. Like if you have mandatory 3 wide receiver sets that you have to start week in and week out, I think that's irresponsible to go to not at least leave the 3rd round. I mean, not to leave the 3rd round and you have you don't have at least one of those top 24 receivers. You know what I mean? Granted, they're top 24 based on the year prior, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, they draft just based on ADP.
I love those people.
Without realizing
I love them.
that so many things are different.
Get them in all our leagues.
I was in a draft, and Patrick Mahomes, what was his ADP last year? Like, what, 2nd round?
Second round.
I don't know.
He's going in a 3rd now because there is a certain fantasy managers that they'll just look at the numbers from last year. They won't realize he missed 3 weeks, and they'll be like, and then, but still though, his name value alone it still has him solidified as a 3rd rounder. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy people thinking he had a bad year.
It really is.
But yes, this person, I was saying, look, he wanted Patrick Mahomes. I was saying, look, everyone at this draft said they're not drafting Mahomes until like round 5. They just don't want a quarterback that early. And he
See, that's gangster. Because I'd be the guy that would be like, hell yeah, let's do that. And I'd grab him in the 4th. You know what I mean?
And he said, no, the ADP is at like round 2. I'm taking him.
Yeah, and
it's just like,
those especially for people that draft online, because then they'll have that list right there on the side.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, I do promote live drafts as much as possible. I love the convenience of online drafting because the ADP, you could use it to your advantage. Speaking on the Star Wars theme that we're continuing to carry on, right? You could, the dark side clouds the mind. In this sense, they might look at the ADPs and be like, oh, why is he pulling up this guy in the 5th round? He's the 7th rounder. Because I'm like, this guy has the upside to finish as a number 2, a round 2 draft pick next year. You know what I mean? Like a Terry McLaurin. Like I'm really big on him just because of his talent. On top of the fact he's the number 1 on that team with a bad secondary.
Yeah, I love McLaurin.
Fucking love him.
And another problem with it is people kind of tend to forget the idea that, look, they won't come back to you.
Yeah.
You have to add 12, basically, to any ranking because they're not going to come back to you. If you're choosing between someone 20 and, 22, ranked 20 and 22,
yeah,
you can't just take the 20th because, that 22, it means nothing. They're not coming back to you. It's who do you want at that? I don't know. It's just so many people draft just based on.
There will be guys following
what other people are doing.
There will be guys falling though to the third, like a lot of second rounders that should be solidified second round picks in 12-team redraft. A lot of them will fall to the third round because, put it like this, the likes of Kittle, the likes of Travis Kelce, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, those guys, and maybe even there will be some crazy assholes that will get like Zach Ertz in the back of the second round. So there's going to be some second round guys that will fall because of those people. You know what I mean? Reaching up for those type of players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't know. What are your thoughts on Ertz this year?
Okay, here's my thing with Ertz is, you know, last season, because first of all, Ertz is also a good blocker. You know what I mean? And like they run 12 personnel like religiously over there. So there's a lot of times where him and Goddard is out there, and if one's blocking, the other one's out there running around, and vice versa. So I will say that, you know, this might be like extreme, but I wouldn't mind if I get Zach Ertz in the third or the fourth or even the fifth, because that's how far I've seen him fall. Like, believe it or not, I've seen him fall like to the early fifth round. Like, and then later on in the 10th or 11th round, I don't mind grabbing Dallas Goedert because he's extremely talented. It goes back to our conversation we were having about running back handcuffs. Like, not to say that I'm ever a believer in handcuffing a tight end, but Dallas Goedert literally finished number 8 overall in PPR. So, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. There has to be standalone value in the handcuff.
Yeah, and like, if I put it like this, if I had a guy in a bye week, I might start Ertz and then flex out, you know, Goddard if I had to, because I would, you know what I mean? There's a chance, you know, that he'll get a red zone target. And think about this, you know, if you catch a touchdown pass, more than likely that week as a tight end, you're finishing as a tight end 1. You know what I mean? That's pretty much all it takes sometimes for you know what I mean? So I'm saying no, I probably wouldn't be the guy who would grab Dallas Goedert, you know what I mean? You know what I mean, without having Ertz. I know that sounds crazy, Playmakers, but you know what I mean? This is a different year. This is a different beast. This 2020 year that's coming up, this is different right here. Like I feel like we're gonna see a lot of things change. Even the whole late round QB, I'm a strong advocate of that. But like, if Patrick Mahomes falls to a certain place, you know what I mean? And like imagine this: if I'm in the back of the third or the fourth round, you know what I mean, or early fourth, and Patrick Mahomes is there, and my options are like Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Jones, because I've seen him fall to the back of the third. You know what I'm saying? Because they drafted A.J. Dillon, and people are all frightened now. I think I might go with Patrick Mahomes because I think his production would be more guaranteed than. I mean, damn, you know what? We are on the dark side now because we're speaking in a lot of certainty. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of like what you said. It goes back to just drafting the best player. Because I mean, look, if someone's like you're looking 5th round, and you're debating between Kyler Murray. Let's say Kyler's in the 5th. Who are the 5th round options that you're actually going to be starting week to week that are going to put up more points than Kyler Murray?
Exactly. That's my point.
Yeah. So I agree. It's going to be interesting to see because I feel like things are changing fast in the NFL.
For sure. I mean, it's a pass happy league, and like, you know, those two QBs in particular, whether it's a Patrick Starfish or a Kyler Wren, you know what I'm saying, bro? Like, those guys do have rushing ability, like, you know what I mean? Like, they will run the ball here and there, you know what I mean? So yeah, so I mean, you know what? Okay, how about this? Like I was saying, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Andy Isabella, right? You did interview him, and one of the things that really caught my interest, because I found it intriguing that you were able to stir up some controversy on your page, because it was hell of a conversation that, you know, that a lot of people were having on your post when when you were saying, you know what I mean, you believe you were comparing Andy Isabella to Tyreek Hill. Like, so can you explain that a little further to me? Were you talking about the speed that they have, or just, you know, in general as the type of players they are?
Just kind of that, but especially the speed. People, I mean, you're a 49ers fan. You saw what he did to you.
Yeah,
he's
bring
got
it
that
up.
ability. He's got that. It's that ability to score
To break a game
so
open
fast in a blink in the eye, and to make any game that's not close in a second. And we see that with the Chiefs. They came back against the Texans, the Titans in the playoffs, and it was so fast just because of the speed. A huge part of that is Tyreek Hill, and I think Isabella. Obviously right now, not as good as Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying he is, but I think he has that type of ability where he could take a game and make it close in a split second just because of that speed. And if we have Kyler Murray, who's protected, and Hopkins on the other side, I mean, that's a horrifying offense.
The one thing I do worry about is because, I mean, I even remember commenting on your post. I was like, well, they do run, 4 wide receiver sets a ton, right? And like, so and when they do that, Isabella will be on the field, you know what I'm saying, if they weren't lining one of the running backs out wide, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in this case, you know what I'm saying, like, look at Tyreek Hill. Like, Tyreek Hill, I'll tell you this much, he's one of those guys I'd rather be wrong about, because I stayed curving him, like, for the past couple years. I had him his rookie year because he was a waiver wire acquisition, and I loved having him because they used him in every facet of the game. But, like, seeing Tyreek Hill get injured a couple times, and also seeing the fact that, like, you look at his finishes, like, he's kind of, by definition, boom or bust. And I'm not paying a second-round draft capital for someone like Tyreek Hill.
Oh, no, not at all. Yeah, I mean, look at last year's game logs. 4 fantasy points, 25.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, then by definition, that's boom or bust. I'm pretty sure you agree with me. We live in the PPR world where that's the only type of leagues I play in where, like, you know what I mean? I don't know if in that second round if I'm willing to grab Tyreek Hill just to have a piece of that Chiefs offense. You know what I mean?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, wait longer and take Hardman.
Yeah, I was going to say, me Cole. I call him the caveman. Because if you talk to a caveman, I'd imagine he'd be like, me, Cole, Hardman.
Me, Cole.
Me, Cole. You know what I mean? Like, his name is really just Cole, but you know what I mean? It's like, but when he's referring to himself, he's me, Cole, Hardman. You know what I mean? And he's like a poor man's Tyreek Hill. You know what I mean? And he's still gonna get the ball in his hands every time the opposing defense or special teams kicks it off to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and people also forget, because when I said he's like Tyreek Hill, I didn't mean he's as good, but people forget Tyreek Hill first season, it was not the same as Tyreek Hill right now. Yes, Tyreek Hill was great, but 2016 only 500 receiving yards. He was mostly used as kind of a just utility special teams. He ran it,
end arounds,
and it wasn't
screens, jet sweeps, fucking kickoff returns, punt returns.
Yeah, it wasn't until 17 his yardage it doubled. Then it added 300 more yards in 2018. So we saw a huge elevation in game from years 1 to 2, and I think we could see that with Isabella this year. Probably not on the same scale because it's a lot more crowded of an offense. Isabella doesn't have the possibility of becoming the number 1, but I think we could see something similar where there are enough times that they design plays for him that he's able to do damage.
I love it. I love this segment that we just had because I hope we stir some things up because I'm telling you, listen, I love the fact that you was able to stir up some controversy with that take, man. Let me ask you this. Did you share that with the Andy Isabella during that interview?
No, I didn't say that. I tried to stay away from
comparing him to anybody.
Yeah, comparing, because in our eyes in fantasy, everyone's numbers, but I mean, I don't know. It's just I felt weird comparing him to other players.
Yeah, no, I get it. You know what though? I will say about Tyreek Hill, when they did start, when 2017 came around, they really opened up him as a route runner because he could run the route tree, bro, and just hit the threat of him on the field alone. You know what I mean? He basically opens it up for everybody else, and I hope that's what Isabella will do in this case. You know what I mean? Because I will say this much: in redraft, I probably won't have any Isabella. But he will be a waiver wire guy if he's there, and I need to plug somebody in as my WR3 or my flex. Because then, going back to the point you made, he could just bust a game wide open with 1 or 2 catches. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 1 or 2 catches is all it takes for someone like that.
But is it safe to say he's basically a best ball play or a daily fantasy play?
Yeah,
like
probably.
I don't really want to be
happens.
irresponsible. I don't want to be irresponsible to the playmakers and just be like, you know what I mean? Wait on Andy Isabella late in redraft.
Yeah, I mean, I think in most leagues he will go undrafted, but he's definitely someone just more keep an eye on, and I think his impact will first be on the field. And it's going to be something that we notice for a couple of weeks. We're going to say, hey, Isabella's getting more involved. It hasn't showed up in fantasy, but he's really, they want to use him. So I think we'll see it coming if it happens.
Yeah. Okay. So now, what off the top, because I can't remember off the top of my head, because now we're going to go a little off the docket just for a second. I mean, what was the Cardinals' record, if you remember off the top of your head? I know they had 1 tie. You know what? I could ask my co-host Siri.
I think they got 5 wins.
Wait, let's see. What was the Arizona Cardinals' regular season record in 2019?
The Cardinals finished at 5-10-1.
There you go. Look at you.
5-10-1.
See, you know what? You know what's funny is I believed you. I was just like, let me make sure because I just so I can make the point. Just so I can make the point. Like, so let's put them at 500. Let's put them at 8-8.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Are you taking the under or the over? This is a reality take.
Ooh, it's hard because that division, but I think they go over 8 wins.
Okay, so you're taking the over. All right, now with the addition of the 7th seed in each conference, do you think let's put them at 9-7 then. Let's be a little realistic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think 9-7 would suffice to get them into the postseason?
I think it could.
I mean, think about it.
Could get there.
I'll put it into perspective a little more. So the Rams and the Steelers last season, if they had the addition of the 7th seed, it would have been them. It would have been the Rams in NFC and the Steelers in AFC.
Mm-hmm. I think they can get it. I don't think the Rams finish ahead of the Cardinals in that division, actually.
Oh, that's bold. I love it.
I just don't see it happening.
Oh, I love that. It's fucked up, too, because I grabbed my phone really fast to hit the Jamaican horns, and I closed the app. I'm like, I was ready to hit. Hold on. You know what? Now my phone's freezing. Come on. Well, you know what? Pew, 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 pew. Bro, god damn. I like that bold take, because you know what, dog? Even though we are sworn enemies, I'm a Niner, you're a Cardinal, right? Fuck the Rams. But you know what, though? I do respect them so much. This is why, like, I don't just say fuck my enemies. My enemies got to be worthy adversaries, and they are. Like, I'm terrified of Sean McVay. You know what I'm saying? They yes, they don't have Gurley no more, but they brought in Cam Akers, who has like all the upside in the fucking world, bro. Like, I'm not discounting the Rams, or even the Seahawks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how about this? Here's a bold prediction off the Kool-Aid. I'll say we could very well see at least 2 teams from the NFC West, and we could see a ceiling of 3 teams coming out of the NFC West making it into the post.
I could see it, yeah. It's such a strong division. And kind of the take I said, yeah, it's 2016 when the Rams went 4-12. No one was expecting them to go 11-5 the next season, but they did. And yes, the coach changed, but a lot of the same personnel. I just think, their magical years are in the past for right now. And I think it's the Cardinals' turn for that, just magical year.
You heard it first right here on the Real Fantasy Playmakers. Yes. All right. So we'll close this thing up with the last question I had, because this one we could conversate about this for a good minute. So give me some of your late round acquisitions, your late round targets in 12-team redraft that you find yourself having on your teams when you're doing these mock drafts. You know what I mean? Like, who are some of the guys that that are some of your the guys that you're always targeting late? And when I say late rounds, we're talking rounds 10 and up.
Okay. I trying to think if his ADP is there. I haven't checked his ADP, but AJ
Lay it on me.
Dillon.
Okay. Yeah. He's definitely a late round
Yeah,
guy.
I feel like he's very late round, and he's someone who, I mean, talking about handcuffs, Aaron Jones healthy, I think AJ Dillon you can plug and play as, low end flex or I think he's serviceable because he's going to have touchdowns. I think he will have touchdowns. But if anything happens to Aaron Jones, which isn't completely crazy to say, something could happen to Aaron Jones health wise, AJ Dillon, he's the number one on a run first team, and he could be a league winner.
Yeah. I'd say.
So,
I mean, like, especially with someone like Matt LaFleur, who came into a team where like none of these guys are his regime's decision.
Yeah, this one's his.
Yeah, and we've already. I mean, come on, remember with me, a couple seasons ago when he was the OC over there with what's his name, with Derrick Henry and Deion Lewis. You know what I mean? Like, he was utilizing both those guys. And we seen that last season with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. And in this case, it took Aaron Jones to get hurt. Jamal Williams to get hurt before, we seen a ton of Aaron Jones usage. Because at the same time, I think Aaron Jones was at one point averaging like 13 touches a game, where it was like, you know what I mean? Like, and his efficiency was through the roof. Like, he was making it happen with those, with those 13 touches. You know what I mean? And and the games where he was extremely balling out was the handful of weeks without Jamal Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
I like that.
And I'm trying to think of some others that are very late. Obviously,
go ahead. Lay some names on me, because I'm pretty. I've been mock drafting. I'm pretty. And my memory's like a goddamn elephant, where like I could tell you where I've been seeing these guys go at least, because ADP is still settling right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Where do you know where David Montgomery is going?
David Montgomery, he has been falling to the 6th. You know what I'm saying?
Sixth.
Like, yeah, but that so he's a mid-round value, but
okay, mid.
Yeah, and I've seen him fall. I've seen him fall as late as the 7th. You know what I mean? Like, I do work with a lot of guys from across the nation, and in this case, in a lot of the mock drafts I've been in, there's a Chicago native in there where like he's pulling them up there. You know what I mean? Because, bro, he finished with damn near 1,000 all-purpose, if I remember correctly. Well, let's see.
I think he got way too much hate.
Let's see. David Montgomery rushing yards, 2019 regular season.
David Montgomery had 889 rushing
See,
yards
889. Okay, let's see.
season in the
That's not
How many
bad.
receiving yards?
David Montgomery had 185 receiving
Okay, so
yards.
he definitely teetered a little above 1,000 all-purpose yards.
Yeah.
And we, with Matt Nagy, he was kind of on some fuck shit where it was like he's bringing in Cordero Patterson, and he's bringing, he was like, yeah, it was like they were still treating Montgomery like a rookie, and then I think Montgomery even like was banged up towards the end of the year, but yeah, man,
Here's the thing. Montgomery's talented. He didn't get the work because, like you said, just Nagy. It was weird.
Yeah, it really was
what
weird.
Was great about that? It didn't work. That did not work for the Bears.
Yeah.
And I think that they're obviously going to change something. They're not going to say, well, let's do the same thing we did last year when it didn't work. So I think they changed something. They make Montgomery that workhorse.
Okay, check this out. Shout out to the fantasy footballers, but I remember like I want to say it was Mike Wright, but he was comparing him. I mean, he was calling him a rabbit rhinoceros, where it was like he didn't have the greatest speed, but he could be a banger, and he could like tippy-toe around and run rampant, kind of like a junior Le'Veon Bell type of shit. Like, and he was a great route runner. That was the one thing. Like, I didn't like that they weren't using him as much as they should in the receiving game, because and it's fair because they had Tariq Cohen there. They have him there.
Yeah, but I think they will, and it is. He has that skill set still. Just because they didn't use it doesn't mean that skill set is gone.
Is it safe to say that he has 3-down capability? Is that,
yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I like
Definitely.
that. I like that. You hear me, Playmakers? Woo! No, because, and you know what? Let's stop talking about him. So then they won't. So maybe
Don't
he'll
tell
fall
anyone.
a little farther. You know what I mean? Because I want the value. I don't want to draft a guy where his ceiling is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I got
And
one
then
for
I've
you.
got. Oh,
Oh,
you
no,
got
no,
one?
no. Go ahead. Give me one.
Well, I had really one more. I was looking for. Yeah. Okay. DeAndre Swift. He's going the ADP chart I'm looking at now. He's going 11th round,
Yeah.
and right now he's Kerryon's backup. But Swift, he's a great runner, and Kerryon Johnson, he doesn't stay healthy. Really, it's pretty safe to say there
Yeah.
will be a point in this season where Kerryon Johnson is gone for a significant amount of time, and we could see Swift in a workhorse
So
role.
I did look at I did look at a lot of these rookie running backs ADP because that's what I do. Like when I get out of that third round, I'm looking for those rookies that could finish as the next year's round 2 or round 1 draft picks. Same way we all I don't want to say we were all foolish looking at David Montgomery that way, but come on, you know what I mean? Like we had the right idea. You know what I mean? Think about it. David Montgomery, he was finishing what? Damn near 1,000 yards all purpose, and like so that's better than any flex you would grab in that range. And then he still lives in that range, right? Because he was like a 4th round draft pick last year. I know there was like are you familiar with the fantasy counselor? I'm not trying to shit on him at all, but he was like, he's a 2nd round pick, guaranteed. The fantasy counselor, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and like, guys with a very magnified voice, they could drive ADP. You know what I mean? And like, and like, I'll tell you this much. Those mock drafts I've been doing. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Rum Boys, because I've been a part of them for a good minute now. And when we do these mock drafts, we're getting 11 other. It's 12 individuals that are all, fantasy analysts in the industry. And like DeAndre Swift has been a 5th, 6th round pick steady. And it's Kerryon Johnson that's going there in the 10th,
really?
in the 10th round. Yeah. But here's the thing though, the larger population, which really drives the ADP, you know what I'm saying? They do have Swift going in the 10th round. And bro, that's another name maybe we should stop talking about so much, because I don't want to drop. I would love Swift in the back of the mid rounds. Bro, put it like this. Remember I told you I'm obsessive of chasing around these coordinators. Derek Bevel, bro. We've seen Derek Bevel be with, Adrian Peterson. We've seen him be with Marshawn Lynch. Bro, you know what? I'm not sure if he was with Adrian Peterson before. I might be right about that. But either way, I've seen him with Marshawn Lynch for multiple seasons in Seattle, and like they love a workhorse running back that can catch the ball. They love their 3 down backs, and if you can get a 3rd down back, a 3 down back, essentially a workhorse, or a cowbell if you want, because I think cowbells are the Nick Chubbs and the Dalvin Cooks and the Zeke Elliott's, the CMCs. They're definitely workhorses. You know what I'm saying? Even Alvin Kamara, even though you know what I like to call Alvin Kamara? I call him Alvin and the Chipmunks, because he will have a chipmunk there, whether it's a Latavius Murray a couple years ago or Mark Ingram a couple years ago, Latavius Murray now. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like he's gonna have company there. But with that said, I'm just saying, like, if you can grab a workhorse or / cowbell in the mid rounds, value.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess I got one more.
Okay.
Of these deeper ones. So I'm looking at 1403 right now. Okay. Right next to Baltimore defense and Larry Fitzgerald, we've got Alan Lazard. And I want to ask one question.
Okay.
Do you ever think the Packers didn't draft another wide receiver because
I was really big on Alan Lazard because for years I always just chased the secondary option to Devontae Adams, right? But the one thing I do worry about is the fact that they're on a run first offense, where the volume and the passing is already at jeopardy. You know what I mean? So we're gonna need efficiency, and then I will couple that with the fact that they picked up my man Devin, Devin Funchess, and like,
Yeah.
you know, the fact that they're paying Devin Funchess and that Alan Lazard was basically the fifth option on the depth chart, and he moved all the way up. Because there was other guys. You had Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and then there was another guy.
Valdez.
There was another guy ahead of Lazard. I can't remember his name right now, bro.
Geronimo.
No. Well, Geronimo was a slot guy. I was looking more so at the outside threats. You know what I mean?
Equinami St. Brown.
There you
Is it
go.
him?
Yeah, they were all higher than Lazard, and Lazard just played his way into being that secondary option out wide at one point. So the fact that they brought in Devin Funchess, you know what I mean? And Devin Funchess is another one of those taller. Devin Funchess, to me, I always called him like a skinny tight end. Like if he had like an extra 30 pounds on him, he could be a tight end because he has the height for it. You know what I mean? But he lacked because he lacked the mass, and he was obviously a receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like I that's why. So to answer your question, I love the value that Alan Lazard's there, but I mean in the 14th overall. But you know, maybe in the 10th or the 11th round, I would probably grab Funchess, being that guy who I am, chasing the secondary option to Adams.
Okay, yeah, I understand that. And yeah, I guess that's the big thing is just
because reality comes into play sometimes for fantasy, where like they are paying this guy to be on the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I guess you could just say that exacting my last pick would be Funchess then. Just do you think the Packers, they didn't draft another wide receiver because they thought they were set at it? And I think whoever the secondary option for Adams, whether it's Lazard or Funchess, I think they provide pretty decent value for where they're being drafted.
I would say. And you know what, too? And here's another thing, too. Like, you know, just going back to remembering how last season panned out. When Funchess went over to the Steelers, you know what I'm saying? You know, or not to the Steelers, to, was it the Colts? No, it wasn't the Colts. Was it the Steelers last year? Yeah, because I remember wherever he went, he ended up getting beat out by the third option. So, you know, we could say Lazard, you know, does have especially Lazard already knowing the system. You know what I mean? So, yes, you know what? I'm not mad in a 15-round draft if I get Lazard and get a piece of Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, man. Why the fuck not? You know what I mean? Okay.
I know what you mean.
I got one. Denzel Mims.
Oh, I like it.
Because, you know, with the absence of my man Robbie Anderson, who I used to call the green bean because he was skinny, or AKA the string bean because he was skinny and they wear green. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and you know what I'm saying? And then they bring over Denzel Mims, who actually is faster than Allen Robinson. He's bigger than him. He's like an inch taller. He's 6'3", and he's thicker than him. You know what I mean? He has more muscle mass. Because like I said, that's why I called him the string bean. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hey, hold on 1 second. Close the door, please. Thank you. Okay. Oh, go ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Mrs. Bogard. Stepping in real quick into the studio. You know what I'm saying? Why'd you bring the and little Bogard's here? Say hello. Everybody say hello to Uncle Calvin. Uncle Prophet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nah, cause she, you know what I'm saying? It's my son's dinner time. She came into the fridge to go ahead and grab a, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and grab, you know what I'm saying? So, 'cause I'm the type of, you know what I'm saying? And for all the Filipino playmakers out there, anybody who knows Filipinos, we always keep a garage fridge, and I call it the gridge. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? But okay, so check this out. You know what I mean? Denzel Mims, you know what I mean? He's going like in the 10th, 11th round because people are just down on the Jets in general. You know what I'm saying? But like, when can you ever get a number one option there? Theoretically.
Yeah. They don't exist, a number one option that late.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care what team it is.
You know who's another one? Love Anthony Miller.
Oh, yeah.
PPR machine. Once we get into that 10th round, 11th round, and I'll even say what's his name? Deontay Johnson. You know what I mean? From the Steelers. Like,
Yeah, the Steelers are interesting.
well, because think about this. You have Big Ben coming back. I mean, Granny's coming off an elbow injury, which do you remember Jake Locker? I remember Jake Locker
For a
had,
couple minutes.
yeah, he had the same, when he was a thing for a while with Carolina. I think if I remember correctly, what ended his career was the same injury that Ben Roethlisberger had to get surgery for. You know what I'm saying? And like, I mean, and it was on the throwing arm. So, you got to consider stuff like that. But I say all this to say, you know what I mean? With Deontay Johnson, I'm hoping he's the secondary option because remember when Juju was the shit? You know what I'm saying?
I do.
He was the secondary option to Antonio Brown, and like, there's no way that opposing defenses aren't double coveraging or bracketing or whatever whatever term you want to use. There's no way they're not doing that to Juju, and like we've already seen Deontay Johnson flash with like Mason Rudolph or the Duck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I like that because I'm not so high on Juju, but I don't know. Steelers are just, it's weird to think about because I have no idea what condition Roethlisberger is going to be in.
I also do like this. He's kind of a boomer bust type of guy, but I also like John Brown in those rounds. My man, downtown John Brown. You know what I mean? Because we've seen my guy Josh Allen the Stallion, the white Cam Newton himself. But the fact that he runs the ball a lot, they're going to keep a spy on him. So we will see a lot of single coverage out wide. And guess what? They have Stephon Diggs there now. So if they were going to double cover somebody, it would be Diggs. And John Brown, he's a burner himself. And I call him downtown John Brown because, the Stallion will look downtown and see him there and be like, woo! And with that big ass arm, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I like the Bills' offense as a whole this year, honestly.
I do too. The one thing I worry about is the fact that they have a pretty solid kicker and their defense is good. So they do win a lot of games lower scoring. You know what I mean? Because when you have a solid defense, you know what I'm saying, you can keep games close, and then you have a good kicker. You can win games, 13-12 or 17-14 or
Yeah, they don't have to put up the points.
12-9 type of shit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man.
Old school.
Okay. Okay, now this is another one off the docket, and then we'll close this thing out.
All right.
So let me know. Give me just a bold prediction. We'll start with running back. Give me a bold prediction on a player. Just whatever it is.
Bold prediction,
give me a
running
bold
back.
one. Give me one of those takes that that I see you be posting that I love it. That I love steers up conversation.
I'm gonna go out and say Kareem Hunt finishes as an RB1.
Oh! And an RB1 would entail he finishes top 12.
I know.
That is bold. I'll even give you a little help there and say, obviously, we're talking PPR. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, because he will have the catch. He will, stack points for managers. That what I'm saying, because he has receiving chops. But yeah, okay. Do you say this to say that like, are you banking on Chubb getting hurt? Like, how bold did we go?
All right, so I'm gonna say an RB2 with Chubb there. Just I think that offense, if they're passing, running, it's gonna go through the running back primarily. It's gonna be a great tandem. But if Chubb goes down, which I think could happen, we've seen Chubb. He's dealt with injuries before. Hunt, he's a lock and loaded RB1.
Woo. Okay. That is bold. Okay, now give me one for a receiver.
One for a receiver. Oh, this is okay. DJ Moore is gonna be top. I'm not. Oh gosh, this is hard because I want to say wide receiver 1, but I'm gonna say top 15.
Listen, I'm not mad at that. So you're talking about he's gonna finish at least at minimum outside of the WR1s.
All right, let's change it up. I think DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin, and DJ Moore. I think all 4 of those guys finish top 15. That whole rookie class. I see them coming in as the new big wide receivers.
I did want to argue DK, But at the same time, I think we might see a change in culture there because that secondary should still be bad. And like the Seattle Seahawks offense, they were able to control time of possession with their run game to mask the fact that they had a bad defense, right?
Yeah.
But in this case, Chris Carson and Rashad Penny, they're coming off an injury. I'm not sure, and they didn't. It's not like they. I mean, they could be looking to a veteran running back, like maybe bringing back Marshawn Lynch for God's sakes, or maybe even bringing in Devontae Freeman. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But like,
who knows? But yeah,
so maybe they'll be passing more. And so I can't really argue that with DK. And I will say,
I just think
you already know how I feel about McLaurin, so you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know that one, but I just think it kind of out with the old, in with the new. I think
with DJ Moore. Look at DJ Moore, bro.
Yeah.
He had 1,100 yards receiving. He had four touchdowns, and he was already a PPR machine. You add another, 3 or 4 more touchdowns, bro. That's not far fetched. He can creep up into that WR1 territory even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think we're just going to see a lot of these younger guys, third, second-year receivers, become wide receiver ones, become the new people to own. And I'm not saying Julio and Odell are bad, but I just think their time in the line.
You know where OBJ is going these days?
Where is it?
Bro,
is it 4?
In a league with analysts, he went to the 5th round, the early 5th.
Holy smokes!
I know. But you know what, though?
That's kind of sad.
I mean, like, if you want to look at Stefanski's offense last year, Stephon Diggs was that guy that OBJ is going to play that role in over there in Cleveland with Stefanski there. So, and Stephon Diggs,
I mean, Odell in the 5th, I would take all day long.
For sure. Even in the 4th.
Odell out of the top 2, I would take, I think. The talent is there. Injury's obviously a concern, but I mean, talent trumps all at some level. I think he's not done yet.
Here's the one thing with OBJ is like, I just think like he's not maturing.
Yeah.
Like, as an NFL player, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think his natural ability, he's demanding too much respect for it, and like. He's already paid as one of those guys, and but you know what though? He does have a spot where I could defend and say, the whole fact that he was playing injured last year, starting with a new team where he didn't play any preseason, and he was rocking Rolexes on field. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, man. He's probably going through it with his wife. You know what I mean? The kicking net. You know what I mean?
The kick in the, yeah. I don't know. I think he'll have a decent season, but I think it's time that these younger wide receivers kind of take over as the predominant, the guys.
Okay. I got a really bold one. This might not sound so bold by the time we get closer to the year, but Clyde Edwards, the Fresh Prince of Hilaire, he's gonna finish as an RB1.
I believe it.
Yes. Yes, I love it.
100%.
I love it. Yes, he was my RB1 in that last league I was in.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting to see where he ends up ADP wise.
Well, I was happy to get him in the 3rd, but like and the only reason I grabbed him there is because and this was in an actual draft, right? Because prior to that, all the mock drafts I've been doing after post draft. Motherfuckers were grabbing him in the goddamn second round, back in the second round. Like, well, you could make a case though, like he'll never see 6 men in the box because you have Kelsey, Watkins and Hill, and even Hardman. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But also the fact that I'm going straight intangible, not just the fact that he's super skilled. Like, before, like yards before contact and like yards created, like all the ill stats that we all love about our running backs, he owns them all coming out of college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's a great pass catcher. But like just the fact that the intangible where at the 32nd pick overall in the last in the 2020 NFL draft, they called Patrick Starfish and they were like, bro, who do you want? And he was like, I want the Fresh Prince of Hilaire. You know what I mean?
And when it's taken that early, a lot of people, they're going to be scared because Damian Williams is there. But there's no way they spend that first
and not use him,
and don't use him. I can't believe that.
I mean, maybe we might gotta, at worst, we'll see like a timeshare to begin, and then it'll be Damian Williams like as the starter. But like I mean, it's just like my Niners, bro. Like damn near every game that Tevin Coleman was healthy, he started the game. Even in the playoffs, he was the starter, but it would be Mostert like killing it. It was just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that one.
Yeah. Well, man, Calvin, the Prophet, this was awesome, man. This was awesome,
a good
bro.
time.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying?
I love talking football.
Yeah, man, and you know what I mean. I hope down the road this ain't the only time that you can come and we can feature you on the Real Fantasy Playmakers. You know what I'm saying? But
definitely.
My door is always open. If you or my phone line, I should say. If you ever want to call me, and I would love to feature on your joint. You know what I'm saying? Down the road. Sure. You know what I'm saying? And but yeah, man. Before we close up, man, tell everybody where they can find you one more time.
All right, you can find me on Instagram at TheProFFet. Same with YouTube, just at TheProFFet. And then I'm on.
It's just TheProFFet, right? Correct.
Just TheProFFet. Yeah. And then everywhere else.
I will have all the links. I will have all the links in the description too to make it easier for all the playmakers out there.
All right, thanks.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, go. My bad, 'cause I interrupted you for the 72nd time. So go ahead and run that by him one more again.
All right, so Instagram at TheProFFet, YouTube just TheProFFet, and then anywhere where you can find a podcast is The Prophet Podcast.
Yeah, man, I can't lie, bro. I like to feel like I'm a good scout, or like when I because I like to scout, or some would say in the league we tout. And you know what I mean? I touted you, and I was like, bro, we're going to bring this kid on, man, and we're going to have a good episode. And you definitely delivered. You know what I'm saying?
Well, thank you.
You helped feed my own ego. You know what I mean? I can't even hate on you by any means because we are both from the dark side. You know what I'm saying? I'm calling you Darth Calvin now. Darth Cal. Darth Vin even. That has more of a wicked ring to it. Yeah, it's Darth Vin. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Well, shit, man, you be safe. Oh, actually, I did have one more off the script. You know what I mean?
All right.
So in Kentucky, man, how is it dealing with the quarantine and shit? I know you did say you're still working. You know what I mean? Like, how are you what is it looking like out there in Kentucky?
It's, everything closed down, basically. It's supposedly the 11th, which is in just a few days. We're supposed to enter phase 1, I guess, and, some stores will be open. And then, 20 days later, they open more. Just, on the phases, I have no idea when it's actually going to happen. They're saying May 11th, but, every news source says something different right now, it seems. So I'm just kind of, hunkering down and just waiting it out.
Okay. I just want to boo the coronavirus one time. Fuck them. Fuck the coronavirus. Okay, and then now this is literally the very, very last. And, for everybody that knows me, my name is Bogard. And by definition, I always try to hog everything. I literally said, okay, we're about to close it out. Then I start hogging more of your time. Right? Okay, so this is a serious question again, under the same pretense, right? Do you think our season's in jeopardy of starting on time? Because they are about to release the schedule. And as far as I know, the schedule is set at September 10th. So they're not planning to not have a season.
I think it's gonna happen. I think the NFL would, do literally anything they could before just canceling. First off, I don't want to think of a world where the season doesn't happen, but I can't imagine Goodell doesn't, work out. I don't know. I think it's gonna happen.
Dang.
I think preseason could be in jeopardy for sure, and a lot of the training camp, all that stuff. But I think the season will happen.
So I'm not too familiar with Kentucky, but are you in are you in a populated area? Because when I think, mind you, I'm from California. I'm from the Bay Area, so I'm city living motherfucker. You know what I mean? So when I think of Kentucky, I'm thinking of country type of shit. You know what I mean?
I mean, we've got some small cities, but no, there are horses everywhere.
Oh, okay. So we could see phase 1 like for real over there.
Yeah, it's supposedly this May, which I'm excited about for him.
When you step outside, are you masked up and gloved up too? Are you following like protocol and shit? I mean, you are a young man. Because I know a lot of these youngsters don't give a fuck.
It depends on where I'm going, I guess. I mean, some people, it's like they're going out wearing masks to walk their dog. I'm not at that level, but if I'm going into a store, I usually do. Not because I'm more worried about myself, but I know just like everyone else is going to freak out.
Where I'm at, they're not even allowing people in stores without masks half the time now. Right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I have just because I know people will like want. I don't know. It just makes there's no reason not to.
Yeah, that's true, man. Yeah, man. Because and I've said this is a common theme on the show. Like I just want to say to all the Playmakers out there and all the Prophet podcast fans that happen to be listening to this, you know what I mean, or catch wind of this, I just want to tell everybody follow protocol, and because more importantly for everyone, for everyone's health, you know what I mean, and everybody's well-being, but selfishly so we can get our football, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I had to preface it by saying, the important thing first. But then, selfishly, Bogard, he's saying...
We need football.
Yes, come on. Let's get it. Jamaicans. Yeah. But yeah, man, hey, it was epic, man. Thank you again, bro. Much appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Darth Vin. I'll see you out there.
To listening to this.
Oh yeah, man. And you know what I mean? I'll shoot you the link, man. You know what I mean? I'll definitely chop some clips and post and tag you. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? This is something I've been doing, since September, and like, you know what I mean? Like, fortunately, I haven't been negatively affected by, the apocalypse in this sense. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
You know what I mean? Thank the fantasy gods for that. And yeah, man, everybody be safe and you take care, man. You know what I'm saying?
You too.
You tell you and you remind your girl. You know what I'm saying? Us Niners, we're coming for y'all. You know what I'm saying? You and Kyler Ren. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell her.
For sure, man. Well, you take it easy, man.
All right, you too. Thank you.
For sure, man. Peace. Hey.